All right, folks, let's get into this January 20th, 2026. We're going to cap this Ottawa Senators game versus the Columbus Blue Jackets since football is coming to an end with college football national championship ending yesterday. College football's done. Great year of college football. Wager Detective did fantastic. Thankful for a lot of good wins. Took some losses on the chin, but we're transitioning, and now with NFL coming to the end here, Wager Detective and the university is going to be looking towards NHL and college basketball. I won't be touching any NBA, and I suggest, to anybody out there that's listening to this from any parts of the world, I would not bet NBA. I would let them sink in their own manure of what they've created for themselves. So Wager Detective will not be looking towards basketball. I will not be capping anything, so you don't have to come here to my channel for that. But I will be looking at hockey and the NHL and college basketball, leading into March Madness, leading into the NHL playoffs. So be sure to click the like button, subscribe. You can find Wager Detective on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Let's get into this cap. Okay, so head-to-head, the last 9 meetings between Ottawa and Columbus. Ottawa is 4-5 against Columbus in their last 9 meetings, as you can see here with that April 2nd game. Had a couple overtime games. They win, they lose. I did the math for you, so we'll get right into that. Ottawa's 4-5 in their last 5 versus Columbus. The total on this game is set at 6.5. The last 9 meetings, 4 have gone over, 5 have gone under. When the games do go over 6.5 in those last 9 meetings between Ottawa and Columbus, they are 2-2 when it goes over. They are 3-2 when the game goes under that number. Last 5 between Ottawa and Columbus, Ottawa is 3-2 in the last 5. They're plus 2 goals in the goal differential department there. The average goals per game are 6 goals per game on the head there. Last 9 meetings for Ottawa at Columbus, they are 4-5. They're minus 2 goals on the goal differential, and the average score is 5.33 goals per game. And the last 9 meetings at Columbus, there's been 4 overs and 5 unders. When the game does go under in the last 9 at Columbus, Ottawa is 1-3 in those games. When Ottawa is 4 over and 5 under the last 9 at Columbus between these two teams. When the game goes over, Ottawa is 1-3 in those games. When the game goes under in the last 9 meetings, they're 3-2. Okay, so then we go to Columbus. Okay, so that's the head-to-head there. So it looks like Columbus does have the edge there in the last 9 head-to-head and in the last 9 in Columbus. And again, 4 have gone over and 5 have gone under the last 9 at Columbus. Okay, these two teams did meet this year, and they've both won 1 and lost 1. Ottawa won by 3, and in the last meeting, Ottawa lost by 3. So they have met this year. Okay, so when we go to that, we're going to go right over here. We're going to go to the hockey reference here, and we're going to look at Ottawa and see what they've done this year. I've already did the math for you, but we could just highlight it for the people that are watching this. I isolated this to what Ottawa does on the road against the Metro. I went back to last year too as well, to what they do on the road. Now as I go along here, I'll get a little bit better at streamlining this and making it a little bit more easier to kind of get my point across and get better at this. But as we look here, okay, I'm going to find that game. They were at Pittsburgh, I believe. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Well, anyway, so without getting into that, because I can't find that game, but the last 13, I went back to the last 13 for both these teams, their splits home and away versus their respective conferences. And Ottawa is 9-4 in their last 13 on the road at the Metro. 6 have gone over and 7 have gone under. When the games do go over the 6.5, when they're on the road last 13 versus the Metro, In those 6 games that have gone over, Ottawa is 4-2 in those games. When the game goes under, the Ottawa is 5-2 in those games against the Metro. So Ottawa 9-4, last 13 road versus the Metro. 6 have gone over, 7 have gone under that 6.5 that's set tonight. In those games, they are plus 16 goals per game, goals differential. They're plus 16 there. So that's a good stat for them. Now we're going to get to Columbus here. And we're going to look at, I want to see what, just show you what, how I cap here and what I do. That's a Metro game. Let me see here. Metro game. Okay, another Metro game for Ottawa. If we look over here, no Metro, no Metro, Penguins, Metro, Islanders, the Devils, the Rangers, and then the Capitals, the Flyers, the Devils. Is this 2025? Oh, this is 2025. Let's go to the next year. See what they've done this year. They were at the Pens where we started this. That was their last one this year at the Penguins. Okay, you see here. Okay, so they started here. This is where they opened up against Metro. So they beat Washington on the road. It was a Metro team. They went to the Flyers. They won that game. And you look at a lot of there's been a lot of overtimes for Columbus this year. They have had 16 overtime games this year. 7 of them have come in overtime at home. But you look at Ottawa too. Ottawa, man. I mean, look at all these clustered straight back-to-back games where they've just went into overtime in a lot of these games. And there's been history against these guys where the games have gone to overtime. That might be a look in this game tonight. I'm trying to streamline this because I don't want it to be too long-winded. I know people's attention span. All right, so that's all their Metro games this year on the road. Beat Washington pretty handily. Played the Flyers, went there overtime, won that one. Played Columbus at Columbus already, beat them 6-3. And then their last road game against the Metro was against the Rangers, and they crushed the Rangers 8-4. But if you look at their last 2 games, they have gone to overtime. And then look at all these overtimes. Overtime here, overtime here, overtime. Look, I mean, they've been in a lot of overtime games. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that you could be looking at an overtime here in this game. So that's what. So let's just refresh the cap to go back over this. Ottawa 4-5 last 9 versus Columbus. 4 over, 5 under in those games. Last 9 at Columbus, they're 4-5 as well. Average score is about 5.33 goals per game. They're -2 in the goal differential. 4 have gone over, 5 have gone under. They're 1-3 when the game goes over, and 3-2 when it goes over. Ottawa 9-4, last 13 road versus the Metro, 6 over, 7 under in those games. They are 4-2 when the game goes over, 6.5, and they're 5-2 when the game goes under. And they're having a pretty decent season. This Ottawa team, as we'll take a look at their strength of schedule here. If we look here, strength of schedule, they haven't played the toughest of schedules, and their SRS isn't really that good with that. They're in the bottom half of the NHL and the teams that they've played this year. So nothing really to write home about. Now let's take a look at this Columbus team. Okay, Columbus, they have the same exact record at home versus the Atlantic. They're 9-4 in their last 13. 8 have gone over, 5 have gone under. Average score 6.46 goals per game. They're plus 15 goals in the goal differential department in those 13 games. So you can see why the line is -110 both ways for both these teams. And in those games, those last 13 for Columbus at home versus the Atlantic, there have been 8 games that have gone over. 6-2 for Columbus when the games do go over in those games. They're 3-2 when the game goes under. So from the cap right there, if this game does go under, I would be leaning towards Ottawa to win the game. And if the game goes over, that stat leads me to think Columbus will probably come out with the edge there. If you look at Columbus, like we said, they lost their last 2 games. Both those games have gone to overtime. But between the head-to-head history, Columbus is really playing good right now, and what they're doing. And if we look at them, they haven't played a tough schedule either. But if you look at their SOS, it's more reasonable. Why their SRS isn't good? They've played the 8th toughest schedule in the NHL this year, coached by Dean Evison. I want to see what his record is. I mean, this guy's he's a solid guy. Let's see, regular season coaching record. So this guy's pretty good, man. I mean, 209 and 129 as a coach. He was with Minnesota where he was 147 and 77, and then he's only 10 games above 500 with Columbus. And they're fringe. They're fringe last year and they're fringe this year, but they're not a bad team. Okay, so they came off the 4-3 win versus Pittsburgh in their last game, and this year versus the Atlantic, they're 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-2. They're 4-2 this year. Okay, and again, they've had 16. We look at how many overtime games Ottawa had, but we look at these guys. They've had 16. Look at all those overtime games. 7 of them have come at home. I did the work for you before we started this cap. So between Ottawa's last 2 games being overtime, and then you look at Columbus, their last game at Pittsburgh was an overtime game, and they've had 3 of their last 8 games have gone to overtime, not including the 16 all year that they've had. So I would sprinkle that. I mean, if you're going to look at this game, overtime is worth a shot here. So with everything that we're looking at here, I would call this cap at this point. I would lean towards Columbus. I really didn't look at I want to take a look at this as well, because I'd be remiss if I didn't look to see who's in net for both these teams. So what I'll do is I'll come over here. I'll get that out of the search engine, and then I'll go to RotoWire. Should have that up for the who's going to be in net for these 2 teams. As soon as I see the names, I'll have a. Okay, so James Reimer versus Elvis Merzlikins. All right, so I'll go over here. I'll go to Ottawa. I'll take a look at their goalies here. They got Omar Reimer. I'm going to see what he's done this year. James Reimer. I got to refresh myself with hockey. He looks like a goalie. Get that. 225 and 187 in his career. And then with Ottawa, he's only, this is his first year with Ottawa. Seems like he's been injured. He didn't really play last year with Anaheim. Only 22 games last year. That's a red flag for me right there. Out of the gate. If we look at his game logs, we can go to his game logs and see what he's done. Or no, that was the wrong button. Let me see here. 20, 25, 26. Okay, so he only played in one game at Detroit. He lost that game in overtime. That was January 18th. That was the only time he was in net. And then last year, you see something here. Last year, let's see if he played any. Oh wait, wrong button. 24, 25 on the road. Okay, so let's see what he did, what he's been doing on the road last year. 0-2, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 1-5, 1-6, 1-7, 1-8, 1-9, 1-10, 2-10, 3-10, 4-10, 4-11, 4-12. He's 4-13 in his last 17 road starts. I'm gonna call the cap there. I can't. Either I'm going to get duped into believing that's going to change. The numbers are already leaning slightly towards Columbus from the head-to-head and the recency, and that they already beat Columbus in Columbus this year 6-3. I just, both teams are playing good, but I can't look at a goalie like that. 4-13. Now let me take a look at Merzalkin's as we get to this cap here. I can't look at a guy that's 4-13 and have confidence in that. All right, let me see here. Okay, let's see. All right, so we go to this. Just tidy this up. I'll make this quick. Okay, so yeah, so there, and then let me take a look at Merzalkin, see what he's done this year. If I could find him here, let's see. Merzalkin's, all right, here he is. All right. He's a name. I know this guy. You know, hockey I got to get back into. I mean, I know these guys by names. I could, you know. But okay, so 25-26. See what he's done this year at home. 0-1, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2 this year at home, and he's 1-2, 2-3 in his last 5. I mean, he's given up. They pulled him in this game right here, as you can see. So in this game right here that I've highlighted, he was in net for 14 minutes and 55 seconds, and they lost 3-6. Right? In that game. That was the 6-3 game that we talked about Ottawa beating Columbus. So they pulled him in that game, as you can see his minutes there. And then he lost at Anaheim next game, which really isn't that bad. Anaheim is a team on the rise, well coached, and they're fantastic. Then you lost at Colorado, right? Pretty bad. And then you beat Vancouver, not in the right home, but at home. You went on the road, you played Columbus. I mean, you played Pittsburgh, and it was a 3-3 shootout. And they won the game, right? Okay, so they still won in the shootout, but 3-3. I still got to lean. I still have to. I mean, this guy, Merzalkin, is I'll tell you what, the over is probably going to be like, I know it's juiced at -132, the 6.5. I mean, that for me is a reason why that's probably juiced. If I was to look at this game, I'd probably lay the juice, go over 6.5. But Reimer, 4-13 in his last 17 road games. And I'm not saying this guy's better, but he already did play these guys. I'd like to see his career splits and what he's done against Ottawa. He's 3-2 against them in those games. He's given up 22 goals in 5 games, so that's going to be my lean here. I mean, I do believe that they're playing a little bit better. Columbus has played a tougher schedule. If I was to lean aside, I would have to lean Columbus. And again, if the games go over from the cap, we said they're 9-4 in their last 13 at home versus the Atlantic, and 8 of those games have gone over the 6.5, and then Columbus is 6-2 when it goes over. So give me Columbus in this game. Wager Tech is going to make the call. I don't want to give the chalk play away as over the 6.5 at -132. You just hope you're not walking into a trap with that game because -110 seems pretty fair to look at, especially between the head-to-head. And listen, they've played pretty good on the road against the Metro. Like we said, Ottawa 9-4 in their last 13 on the road. Take a look at this over-under here, 6.5. I think that's the safer call. Overtime, I would look at overtime in this game and see if it's worth a shot. Let me see what the overtime is. Will there be overtime plus 290? You know, so you're getting practically 3-1 for this game to go to overtime. And in a high volatility game like this, a team could be down by 1 and score against both these goalies. But I do think Merzalkin's is a little bit better. And again, he was pulled in the last game that he played against Ottawa. They pulled him at the 15-minute mark because he was just giving up goals. It's tough to go against a team that has lost 2 in a row, like this team has, which makes it a really tricky spot. I mean, But if you look at Columbus, they've played pretty good, right? They've won 4 in a row, but before that they lost 4 in a row. So, I mean, regression to the mean for this guy Reamer's going to have to come about. I'm gonna switch that up because I would think that Columbus would be favored here, right? A little bit more. They got the better goalie. I don't know who's capping hockey games like this, but I got to think that I mean, am I gonna switch here? I don't want to hem and haw here. Columbus at home this year, not really 9-4 in their last 13, but this year they're 3-2. They're 4-2 this year. I mean, and if you look at Ottawa, they're 4-0 this year on the road versus Columbus. It is a really toss-up game. I would lean the over. I hate giving out a -132, but I'll call that. I'll say it goes over, and I'm gonna say that Elvis Merzlikins redeems himself for the last game against Ottawa, and he plays marginally better here to get a win. I would sprinkle the overtime as well, so that'll be the call. Over 6.5, stronger lean, -132, and then I would lean Columbus Merzlikins to have a bounce back game against Ottawa, where he got pulled in that last meeting against them, and they lost 3-6 against Ottawa. So redemption, Columbus -110, sprinkle the overtime, and take the Blue Jackets. This is Wager Detective. Thank you for tuning in. I'll get better with these caps as I go along, trying to format it. And I appreciate everybody out there. Hit the like button, subscribe. You can follow Wager Detective on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. I appreciate you guys out there. I love you. Thank you.